Alright, so boys and girls in 3rd grade, we're ready to begin our project using some of the things that I found outside. And for this project, we're going to be using the sticks. Now, what I did was I gathered a bunch of sticks that are around the same width, and you want them fairly straight, just like that. And they can be super long, and then you'll cut it up. Like here's one that I have that's much longer, and I can continue to cut this one for the project. And then what you're going to need are some containers. Now this one here is a glass container, and so is this one. And I washed off the label, and I cleaned out the inside, and it's ready for the project. If you do not have a glass container, or mom and dad are uncomfortable with you using glass, you can certainly use a tin can for this. I actually am going to use the tin can for this project today, because I have one I did with a big glass container. If you don't have a tin can, you can use a plastic cup like this, or something that mom and dad don't mind parting with. Except this one's probably no good because it has a big lip here. See that lip? You want something that has a fairly smooth surface. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take the sticks and we're basically going to wrap the container or the cup, creating a beautiful container. It could be a vase. It could be something that you put art supplies in. And what I love about it is that the natural materials look beautiful, but the art piece is functional, meaning you can use it. So to do this project, I'm going to use the tin can. And I took the label off, I cleaned the inside, and what I did was I measured my sticks. So I just basically took the stick, measured it. So I just took my cup or container, and I laid my stick next to it, and right where the lip is, I just held and snapped, and look at that. If your stick is dry, you should be able to cut the sticks just about the same size as your container. Now, if I was doing this with my small glass one, let's see, and I'll use this stick here, you measure and cut, and it basically does the same thing. See that there? So, this will take some time to do, but you will get enough sticks for the project. You also will need some rubber bands. You'll need some twine. Now, I love the natural twine because it goes so nicely with the colors. But if you don't have the twine, you can use yarn. And it doesn't have to be earth colored. I have this really cool neon yarn that I might use on my project. I have to see, because sometimes when you create, you change your mind. To get started is take my cup, and I'm going to need 2 rubber bands, and you put one there, and put one there, and now you're going to take your sticks, and you're going to slide them between the 2 rubber bands, like so. I mean, this is a piece of cake. Just like that, you see? And you're going to keep going around. Now, the reason why you want your sticks to be the same thickness is because if you put a really thick stick on your project, what happens is it makes the rubber band puff up too much, and then the pieces that are next to it that are not as big get loose. So you want to try to find pieces that are around the same size. And boys and girls, using nature gives you an organic look. Organic is when it sort of has a free-form look. So don't worry if one stick happens to be a lot higher. I love that. I think that's what's beautiful about using nature, is that some of it's a little unpredictable. So I'm going to keep going here, and every time you do it, just readjust your rubber bands. You're not going to take the rubber bands off. We're going to actually take the rope or the twine or the string or whatever you have at home, and you're going to cover them. So where you leave them now is where they're going to stay. So I'm just going to keep going around. And as you're working, try to pick sticks that vary in height if you did not make them all the same size. You could cut the sticks so they're perfectly level to the top of your container, but again, that's not something I want on mine because I love seeing the different heights. I think that's what makes this project so beautiful. Looking at some of the examples of the artists who use nature for their material, you could paint the sticks ahead of time if you choose to. You could find sticks that have different colors naturally. Now, do you see if I turn this, I see some of the tin can? That's okay. I'm not looking for perfection. I could tighten it up a bit once I get to the other side. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. Now you can see how quickly this goes. Just make sure you're going around every so often and checking to make sure that they're all lined up. Look at that, I have a couple more to go and I'm done. You might want to work outside. No, I'm short. Let's see. I love that. I need a couple more here just to bring it around. And I think I'm going to pop this guy in here just to separate some of those pieces that are looking too much alike. Now look at that. Beautiful. I'm ready for the next step. So where I have my rubber bands is where I want to leave them. You definitely want to have two, one for the top and one for the bottom. But now, if you can, I like to tighten up the rubber bands. So I like to take the one at the bottom and try to go around the container again. And don't worry if you mess up some of the sticks. You'll be able to just move those back into place. Okay. And already, just by tightening that rubber band, I can feel it get so much more secure. And do you see that big gap right there? Just squish and mush. Look at that, it's going right back in. Now I'm going to do the top one. And this one I'm going to pull, twist. Just be careful you're not pulling the rubber band too hard. You don't want it to break. So you want to go around all the top sticks. I find doing this part, doubling the rubber band after you put the sticks in, helps. Because if it's a little too tight when you're putting them on, they can get a little stuck together inside and it's hard to pull a rubber band off. There. I see a couple little spots I might want to fill in, so I'm just going to go ahead. And now that it's put together, I can go in and just, if there's any spots that I'm not happy with, I can just adjust and fix. But again, ooh, I think that looks good. I love that natural little bend. Oh, look how pretty that little guy coming off is. Isn't that great? Okay, I think I'm happy with that. And now, you're going to take some twine, and I'm going to try to do this backwards so you can see. You're going to go around the project and just tie it in a knot, a tight knot if you can, just to get it locked on. Okay, see what I did? Just tie it on. It's still onto the spool here. And now, leave the tail hanging off. And I'm going to tightly wrap this. And I'm making sure that I'm disguising that rubber band. And every time I go around, I give it a good little pull. And make sure you're looking at the whole thing That way you know if you're leaving any gaps. And I think that looks good. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Now I'm going to tie off my string just in a knot on that same piece that was hanging off. Okay. And I'm going to use my scissors just to trim that. And now I'm going to just fix my rubber band on the top, make sure it's level and even. And just do the same thing. Just tie it first. Some of you might not want the tail. Some of you might want to trim this off. I like it. I'm going to leave it on. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Using natural materials, I was able to make a really cool container. So boys and girls, you can see I have one that I made earlier, and I used a much wider container, and I used my gray yarn. I love the gray with the color of the sticks. I think you can see all those beautiful gray tones using the gray yarn. And again, here's the one I just made with you guys. I love that little piece coming off. I think it's so beautiful. And I know I collected those acorns on my trip out into the forest. So I might want to take a little hot glue, and I'm going to put a little glue just around the outside of the acorn cap. And this time I think I'll cover up the yarn knot. What a great gift this would be to give to someone, wouldn't it? Homemade, beautiful. Only took a minute to make. Oh, I love that. Look at that. So boys and girls, just to show you, look at this. I can put my art supplies in this cup here. I can use this one to put some of my tall paintbrushes in, like this guy here. Maybe the rulers. I love it. I think it's so beautiful. And you know what, guys? I have that little container right here. And I want to try to make one, I think, for Fiona's bedroom using this stuff here. So okay, so boys and girls, look at how beautiful it looks with a pop of color. Wow, I love that. And I think to add the final touch, I have this beautiful rock here. I might take a little hot glue. And I think over my knot, I'm going to put a little stone. And look how beautiful that is. So you can see, boys and girls, with using very few things and using sticks from outside, you too can create these beautiful containers which are both sculptural and functional. So boys and girls, give it a try. I hope you enjoyed the project. If you master it, please have mom or dad send me a picture at pricet@pearlriver.org. And feel free to go on to any other grade link and try to do what they're doing as well. I'll catch you next week. I hope you had fun. I miss you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.